We stood around the fire that night, strangers to ourselves, souls far from home, stranded on this far-flung and forlorn fold of the vast wasteland of form, in some kind of interdimensional way station of someone's backyard. We were all the main characters in separate stories, long and wild ones. But somehow we all ended up in that scene together that night, wondering if destiny had a purpose, all awestruck and quiet around that fire. I strummed soft, smoky, bittersweet notes, steady and simple, continuous, a blanket of consolation that wrapped us each in our separateness and kind of snuggled us all together. Notions flared up occasionally, wispy and wistful, were sparking and popping out of the fire ring. How'd I get here? Wonder whatever happened to so-and-so. I wonder what I could have done differently. How am I gonna get out of this place? My soul isn't from here, but I can't remember where home is. I wish the child me could know how loved he was, but he never knew. Now he's dead and buried somewhere inside me. Maybe he can't hear me tell him now. I do see his ghost playing and running around in my dreams some nights. Dreams make perfect sense. Why is being awake such a mindfuck? Now and then we looked into each other's eyes for a moment, maybe just a little more, with sad smiles and souls light glowing through those sweet heartache eyes of warm, moist clay, cheekbones and brow worn down to an earthy grace of surrender and determination. Yeah, now and then we looked into each other's eyes for a moment, but mostly we all stare into the fire, half hypnotized. Is it because behind the flickering flames of this life, there's a constant light and warmth that reminds us of some kind of eternal home, a place to rest and belonging? Or do we stare into the fire so we can put our backs to home, the cold, dark space surrounding us, stretching beyond the beyond, whispering to us, reminding us that sooner or later, we must return, whenever our spirits decide they're finally done with this samsara. Did we stay too many times in this world clinging to some kind of self? Are we the abandoned orphans or are we the runaways? None of us can remember. But I know that whether we live infinite lifetimes or die a final death, none of us will make it out of here. Crowded together and out into the distance. I picked up a plate and excitedly moved along, sampling this and that. Many dishes were marvelous and delicious, many shockingly foul and bitter. But I found, while the flavors faded, all but worth trying. I grew anxious. Some dishes were empty, but I wanted more. And it occurred to me that my stomach couldn't possibly fit a taste of everything. It hurt to see all the tempting treats I would have to leave untouched. Halfway down the table, with the beginning and the end both in sight, I noticed so many things that I wanted to taste weren't even on the table. Rage, disappointment. How could this be my banquet? This is all there is? I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was the chef. I was just about to complain, but she spoke first, in a voice of wry and friendly humor. It's funny, here, and you've been given an exquisite banquet. And yet you're upset because all you can think about is what you couldn't have. Ha! She handed me a glass of water, almost full, winked, and walked away. Words are curious fingers, feeling into my tight spaces. Words are sonar pulses, echoes describe inner places. Words hang around my too many key rings. I know one of these has to be it. Words are the clothing of my thoughts, revealing and concealing with their fit. Words are walls I follow with my hand in this house without lights. Words are the shape of this labyrinth that I must wander all night. You set out from that old barren house of wood into that great spacious twilight, so full of mystery, bundled up, advancing through windy fields of tall, dry grass under the heavy storm cloud sky. Driven by purpose hardly conscious, the dream from lifetimes past had returned for you again, like an unseen brother, haunting from every horizon, pulling you back to that place. You'll know it when you arrive, but only the dream knows the way there. Only the dream remembers where the tablets stand, marking where you keep the artifacts buried, the clues you've collected through lifetimes, fragments, each showing just a piece of who you truly are. Maybe once upon a dream you will complete the puzzle and finally know your origins and the destiny that centuries have been preparing you for. As the first drops of rain fall, you come to that old place. You find the tablets, but they're blank. The words you chiseled with countless pairs of hands and eyes through lives and ages have worn away, indecipherable. Rain fell heavy and you sobbed and roared in traces of long lifetimes now finally erased. You dug madly with the muddy red earth in your fingers until you hit the box of artifacts. You hauled it up, set it on the ground, and lifted its lid as lightning snapped the sky high above you. Inside were the figurines, the music box, the pictures, everything. But all had been drained of magic and meaning, the aura of clue and enigma washed away. Now they are just empty things. You smashed the stones and walked away. Back in that old wood house you found some comfort. Dry, coals still warm. You shouted a mad laugh and dashed your jar of ink against the wall, reading the dripping calligraphy to learn the purpose and first clues of the great new adventure before you. Because the only way to find your destiny is leaving it all to chance when you are just a dream. I have seen a bird, cowering, shivering, shy. I've seen another bird, lifting, wings extending, powerfully pushing on air until it rises, then finally soaring on nature's invisible currents. The clown stands alone, at home, sobs uncomforted. Crows gathered on the telephone wires, some clustering, some apart, sometimes scooting this way and that. Just for fun, creation does its crazy maths on this abacus of feathers, bone, and flesh, rubber, copper, electricity. Math never adds up to anything more than itself. Numbers move themselves so seriously, oblivious, yet to discover that all their accounting and squawking and shitting will never calculate a solution to the problem they've made of life's value. Drop nearsighted fuss. Let's just enjoy being here. Tonight, we will die. Sometimes in dreams, I have tea with a sweet Russian lady. We sit in our cottage at our little table between the open door and window. The ever-fresh days, white, blue, and yellow, rush in and around us with the children. She was once my wife, and this cottage and these children were ours. We meet here so we can remember, reminisce, relive that lifetime, feeling all its moments at once, folded into this place forever, in time between all times, resonating even through the fog of a new life. I wake up crying. There isn't enough time, is there? I lay wondering who she is now. Could we recognize each other awake? In the dreams of my next life, I hope I'll visit this one I live now. I hope I can sit with Mom and Dad and John and hold Lady and Penny while they bark and lick my face like I just got home. I hope I'll read again with the children I taught in my classroom. In the dreams of my next life, I hope I'll visit this life I live now. It was a good one. Old red shed, old rusty master lock, old shingles still sparkle, and moss finds its way over and under. Those old double doors, each marked with the X of boards, from corner to corner. Old sloppy paint job, it could use a new one, and a good washing too. Spiderwebs hang tight, but bend just enough in the breeze so the sun can light up threads in new ways. Frantic, I grabbed at a thought and missed. Terror as two flew from my arm's hold. I was clutching a wild flock to my chest. Obsessed eyes scanning back and forth, trying to notice which would try to escape next. Wings fluttered in my winced face and beaks pecked at my eyes, and another slipped out and flew off, and I need you! One had an urgent message still tied to its leg. Another was pretty. And another I wanted to wear on my shoulder, to repeat and validate everything I said. And another, the most crucial of all, was for dinner. My precious thoughts, my precious... I couldn't hold them all. One by one, I let them all go. sacrifices made, anxious surrender, and faith. Watching them fly off, I was caught by the wide view of heaven. Laughing, I remembered it had been right in front of me all along. I hadn't been holding my thoughts, they had been holding me. Free and facing the spacious fullness of life, I raised my empty arms in wonder and gratitude. A strange bird landed in my palm. I didn't grasp. I held it graciously, like the ground holds our feet. The strange bird looked me right in the eye and said, "The important ones will come back exactly when you need them. But they will need a place to land." The smooth, fresh snow of youth, glowing with light still whole, conceals the rough rock faces sculpted countless lifetimes. What spring-born creature could know the land's shape before the winter? The melting reveals, but not before it alters. Cracked rock tumbles and loose earth washes away. Blue, pink, and yellow surprises speckle receding white as the land awakens slowly, slipping the blanket off its bed of green grass, blood-brown soil, scattered quiet stone. The frozen white light shatters into the many colors. The mask melts at last, and the terrain of a well-worn face appears. I wanted to meet you while we still wore some snow. I wish I could have seen you through the seasons, and I wanted you to see how I became. I wanted someone to know. But it's just as well. We'll be glad to find each other already unfrozen, wearing our warm ridges lovingly. We'll share stories of spring and summer, imagine the blossoming and burning. Sometimes the story is better than sight. Like neighboring mountains, have we already seen each other shaped through the countless cycles? I will know you when I see you. You will have, as I do, a snow-capped peak, a special and secret place standing out above you, fantastic, unreachable. I want to gaze up at your original face, hidden forever by first snow, so the light can tease me with your wink. It always starts with a pure, bright canvas. But every painter knows the next thing that comes is the darkest layer. From then on, every value that comes is a little lighter. The bright, pure shine doesn't come back until the very end, in just a few spots of highlight, where the unbroken spectrum can reflect into your eyes once again. Now, surrounded by all its sides revealed, nestled in all it had hidden at the beginning. I am a ghost. Sometimes I drift through the city among the living. I observe them going through their motions. They can't see me. They hardly see each other. Their body is without spirit. Me, I'm a spirit without a body. It's lonely to haunt, to see and not be seen. But the thrill of encountering another ghost, the relief and longing fulfilled our eyes meet, we move towards each other through the bustling graveyard, at last to be seen, and by such a spirit, one who saw the dream behind the illusion, one who wasn't strong enough to submit, but had all the courage to rebel, one who smashed their tight shell, one who cut off their earthly anchor for freedom to pass through walls and see the other sides, adventuring through worlds and times. How sweet it is to have found each other. But we ghosts can no longer become anchored, even when we want to. Knowingly, we drift our separate ways. But we are eternal, and we look forward to meeting again and again. The old fisherman walks the shore, steady, patient, quiet, working to make peace with his life, just a bit before the sunset. His wife passed away and his children are grown. Somewhere else they have lives of their own. Alone, he must make his peace. He is almost soft and empty enough, at last, for the fullness of life to fit and breathe comfortably inside of him. But the old fisherman shakes his head and smiles a little sad as his longing taunts his surrender. He gently steps along the line where waves and sand have playfully wrestled in young loves forever. I used to have a saying, it's always darkest just before it gets even darker. It came to me while blindly, awkwardly stumbling through freezing, starless night. Night without end. Without premonition, I abruptly find myself standing in a brilliant clearing, and as I shudder and sob and laugh, and all the confusion and turmoil and fear fall off, I look behind, and the way I came in utter darkness is now a gold-lit path. I now understand how it all had purpose, all of it, pulling me with perfect grace and certainty. If I had chosen what I was doing and where I was going, I would have never come to the right place. There was a path, even when I didn't think there was a ground beneath my next step. My guide was a firefly, a humble, diligent, wise point of light, from nothingness appearing just long enough to indicate the way for me to stumble just a little further before it faded back into the immersing shadow. Now, as I struggle along through darkness, I remember that everything is revealed in hindsight, and hindsight has at last given me this foresight. Though I don't know where I'm going or how I'll get there, I will arrive at precisely the right place, and then I will understand why it had to be so. The nights are so long and the days but moments, but now I can trust the darkness and the firefly. I can breathe deeply and laugh while blindly, awkwardly stumbling through freezing, starless night. Find little beauties. Take a closer look. As your frame narrows, the object expands beyond all limits. But what once appeared a discrete object is a world without end, just as Earth is a neat little sphere from far away, but on the ground it is an intricate plane stretching off into infinity all around you. Wander across the vast, vast leaf. Hike the peaks and valleys of the texture of paper. Everything is strange and wonderful, except for those old ideas that make up the walls of that little room you live in. The deadness you see in the world is only the deadness of your withered thoughts reflected back at you, which you mistake for reality. Clean your eyes and let them receive the vitality and intelligence of the endless and alien construction of the cosmos on display in all the little beauties. If we were truly awake to what matters in life, we would play and laugh, enjoying just each other with uninhibited delight because we love each other so much. We would savor the unfolding instants, soberly staring into each other's eyes, cursing and praising time because we love each other so much. We would meditate together on our deaths, grieving and sobbing and wailing and pressing our bodies together, hating to let go because we love each other so much. We would break every politeness and taboo against expressing love, break our fear of loving too much, break our fear of being loved too much, break our hearts open, purposely and urgently and desperately, knowing everything depends on this, because we love each other so much. We would, if we were truly awake to what matters in life. Earth, most holy church of churches. People pissing in the pews, windows broken out or boarded up, cigarette butts stomped into the floor, and that pile of shit and garbage that people started in the corner there, it's starting to spill all over the place. God, don't they know this is a fucking church? No, they don't. Our ancestors all knew, but now most of us have been trained not to notice. And soon enough, we may all die of starvation, dehydration, violence, poison, or sickness. Corpses strewn and piled, quiet and still in every room. The church will go on standing. But what good is a church if no one worships there anymore? You thought you locked your feelings in a little box. But now you realize you've played a little trick on yourself. You've locked yourself in a little box, and you're afraid to come out where the wild feelings roam. I'm always digging. I don't know why I can't stop. Maybe I always want to know what's underneath, or maybe I'm never satisfied with what I see. There's got to be more. Sometimes I see a glint down there, or imagine what's below those unremarkable surfaces. And then I just can't help it. I dig. I'm a digger. You can always uncover a new space. Sometimes it's bright under there. Maybe part of me knows that the only way out is through. Maybe there's another sky down there, so I dig. Often I want to go out wandering wide, and sometimes I do, but mostly I dig intently. I'm getting somewhere. Maybe a wiser part of me knows that the greater adventure is to go inner, innest. Sorry, I'd really love to see you tonight, but actually I have this really important digging thing I have to work on. Maybe I can't help digging through the past, piled up and decomposed. I extract nutrients, organic matter reduced to elements that can become new life. Old materials to combine in new ways. I find artifacts that can help me see my way backward and forward at the same time. Maybe some part of me remembers that while I've tried so hard to build myself a certain way, the real me was already built perfectly and got buried long ago, and its excavation is now an emergency. Or maybe I'm really just looking for a simple home, a place to plant myself. Maybe I'm a seed. So often I ache to rise to new heights. Instead, I just keep digging down deeper. But maybe a wiser part of me knows, like a tree does, you can only reach higher if you stretch deeper. Maybe I'm digging a well. Maybe I'll strike the aquifer beneath all forms, feeding each variation into being. And one day, after a lifetime of digging, if nothing else, I'll have a grave, and I'll crumble into it, graceful, grateful. There's dignity and purpose in digging it yourself, starkly aware that is what you are doing. May you be happy. May you feel light. May you allow a smile to gently spread through your face. May your eyes be open and clean. May you release your apprehension and be filled with supple strength. May you stand tall and rooted, pulled taut from above and below. May you remember that your appearance comes from the inside out. May you remember that you're someone who people are pleased to meet. May you never forget that you are lovable. May you often relive memories of the love you have known. May you remember that the purest happiness is there inside you, always shining just behind the clouds. May you fly beyond them on the gust of a single thought.